Pleasant morning, dear students. After a long time, I am meeting you through my biology class video. In the last class, we discussed about what is pollination. Let me have a quick recapitulation. Pollination is nothing but the transfer of pollen grains from the anther to the stigma of the flower. Now, in this class, let us study about the process of fertilization. Before that, what is fertilization? The fusion of male and female gametes is known as fertilization. Now, let us study what is the exact process of fertilization. Just have a look here. This is the complete structure of the reproductive part of the flower. Once the pollen grains, which is a male gamete, it is just transferred onto the stigma, that is the surface of the stigma. The pollen grains starts developing the pollen tube. This is what the long pollen tube. I hope you can observe here. This is the pollen grain, and once it comes and resides on the surface of the stigma, the pollen grain starts developing pollen tube, and it reaches to the female sex cells, that is called egg cell, that is egg nucleus. This is the complete process of fertilization. That is, this is complete the reproductive part of the flower, pollen grains, this is the stigma, and this is a long style, pollen grains which has developed pollen tube, and this is the swollen part which is called as the ovary, and two main nuclei from this pollen grains are ready to fuse with the egg nucleus of this reproductive part. And at last we have ovule, then the egg nucleus, which is female reproductive sex cells. This is the complete process of fertilization. Once this two main nuclei comes through the pollen tube and just fuses with the egg nucleus, fertilization process takes place. Later, all other parts such as calyx, petals or the sepals, they all shed down, and this ovary part will develop into an edible fruit. The fruits which are developed from the ovary is called as the true fruit. If the fruits are developed apart from the ovary or any other part of the flower is known as false fruits. And the example we have studied is apple. Next, it is what is fertilization? The fusion of male and female gametes is known as fertilization. So what is fertilization? The fusion of male gamete with that of female gamete is known as fertilization. Right? And next, what is a fruit? What is a fruit? We eat different fruits. Apple, mango, banana, pear, guava, strawberry, etc. Fruit is nothing but the ripened ovary. Ovary, once it is developed, it develops into the fleshy part, and that what we call it as a fruit. Fruit, it is nothing but the ripened ovary. And in most of the fruits, we observe seeds, and the ovule part of the flower, this ovule part of the flower will develop into seeds. This is a complete formation of a fruit. I hope it is clear. Let us revise once more. Process of fertilization. 1. some fruits, they are developed from ovary, and there are special fruits which develop from other parts of the flower, like thalamus, and those fruits which develop from thalamus are known as false fruits. And the example is apple. So dear students, I hope you have understood the complete process of fertilization, how fertilization takes place in bisexual flowers. Bisexual flowers means both male and female reproductive part are found in the same flower. I repeat, what are bisexual flowers? The flowers which contains both gametes or both reproductive structures in single flower, that is known as bisexual. It is also called as